Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show, where we explore the journey of recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. One story, one conversation, and one step at a time. I'm your host, Joe, creating a safe space for honest discussions about the challenges and triumphs of addiction and alcoholism. In each episode, we'll hear inspiring stories and uncover tools that make healing possible. Sobriety is not a one-size-fits-all journey, and you don't have to face it alone. Recovery is possible, and it's worth it. Thank you for joining the Cup of Joe Show. Now let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cup of Joe Show. I'm your host, of course, Joe. And today I'm excited to have my guest, John C. John's been sober since October 1st, 2014. At 54, John is living proof of how recovery can open the door to new beginnings. Married since 2018, he's a proud stepdad, and even more, a deeply devoted dad to his daughter, whom he and his wife adopted at birth in 2019. A moment he'll never forget, especially when he was right there cutting the cord and bringing her home from the hospital. When he's not being bossed around by his very needy Aussie golden doodle, John is pursuing his passion of helping others in recovery. He's preparing to take his certified alcohol and drug counselor exam and has even gone back to school taking online college courses to deepen his impact. As for hobbies, John says his number one is simply being a dad. I think that's a pretty great hobby, and he wears that title with pride. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get into it. How you doing today, John?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story.
Yeah, no problem. I feel that just being in recovery, that's something that we're supposed to do. Just give others strength and hope and help carry them into the.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was it like growing up, John?
What was it like? Boy, it was a bunch of chaos. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, and it was me, my mother, and my stepfather, which was a Chicago police officer. And I mostly hung around with, the gang life and stuff like that. As when I was really young, I got caught selling a pistol in fifth grade. I never went to jail for it or anything like that because my stepfather was a police officer, and I think that's really where a lot of my issues came at a younger age because I got away with a lot of stuff. I wasn't held accountable for nothing. I'd be out on the streets and drinking and smoking pot at that age, and every time I got caught, they just called my dad and take me home. So I had no accountability at that age, and it wasn't cool. I mean, really just getting away with all that stuff. And then eventually they sent me to a military school in sixth grade because I kept getting in trouble. And at the first when I didn't like it, but eventually I did like it. It was a bunch of kids that quote unquote were screw ups, and I fit right in. And I made a lot of good friends there, and I stayed there for about 6 years. And I got kicked out of there. We broke into a administration building and took all the keys to the vehicles and just kid stuff. And they kicked us out. And then I got sent back home, and I made it at home. I went to their high school, and I made it home for a year. And that is when I did get held accountable for 2 counts of armed robbery. I was with this girl. Come to find out, she got pregnant. She got an abortion. It pissed me off. So I went and got drunk and felt like I'm going to go rob some people. So I robbed 2 convenience stores And to make a long story short, they took me to jail. My stepdad come in there and he's like, "What did you do?" I said, "You already know what I did." And I got 6 years out of that. And it happened in Indiana because I went across the border. And in Indiana, you only have to do half of your time at that time. And so I did 3 years. And I was 17 years old when I went in. And to be honest with you, I didn't mind it. It was, I met some really good guys in there, started working out faithfully with the weights, got into the kitchen. They actually had a high school in this prison. They had teachers that would come off the street and teach in this high school, in this prison in Indiana. And I got my high school diploma there and worked in the kitchen and ate really good and worked out a lot. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I really did. And I got out and my stepfather got me a job at this nightclub. And I was a bouncer. And that's where I met this bartender and did a lot of drinking. There was a lot of fighting. You know, I was just got out of prison. I'm in good shape. You know what I mean? Having a great time. Well, my parents moved to Kentucky about 92. And I stayed in Chicago at that time till 94. But in that time I was there, my drinking and smoking pot and started cocaine got pretty serious, you know, and couldn't hold a job down. And the girl that I met at the nightclub, we were still together. At one time, we ended up being homeless in wintertime in Chicago, living in a garage that had no doors. So it was pretty cold. And I can remember one day that we had like a sandwich to split between us both. And we were, at that point in time in our life, we've never been any closer. You know what I mean? Just living like that. But it was horrible. But eventually we moved to Kentucky. We both got good, decent jobs, you know what I mean? And started living a good life. I ended up starting drinking again and smoking pot. Just that's it. Just drinking and smoking pot, nothing else. And then I started messing with pills. And I got bad again, you know. I ended up going to jail I sold some marijuana. They charged me for trafficking within 1,000 yards of a school. Come to find out that school was a beautician school. It wasn't like I was selling to kids, but it was a beautician school. But it's still selling within 1,000 yards of a school. In and out of jail for so many years. DUIs, just selling pot and breaking and entering, gotten a few fights, you know, I was just living that type of life. And my mother passed away in 98. And that's when the first time I tried to take my life with pills. Well, I'm still here, so it did work. You know what I'm saying? When my mom passed away, I really got angry with God. I mean, I've said some really bad things to him. It was horrible. Me and that girl I was with, eventually we broke up. And I met this other lady. Her name's Michelle. She's my wife today. She was so naive about the drug life. I was with her 9 months before it came to the point where she realized I was doing methamphetamines. I would sit there, and at nighttime I would clean the house. I'd make sure when they woke up they had breakfast made. They had their lunches packed, her and her daughter. She thought I was the best man in the world. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't have a clue I was on meth until she found it in my pocket one day. And she started Googling stuff and started learning, hey, this guy needs help. Well, I didn't feel like I needed help. You know what I mean? But it came to the point where she said, look, if you don't get help, I'm done with you. I was like, all right, I'll get some help. So I went to a 30-day rehab. And that was the first rehab I've ever been to. I was getting high on the way home after that 30 days. All it was like a little reset button for me. Get a little rest and all that. I hid it from her for a while. And then in May 7th of 2014 was my last arrest. I got arrested for manufacturing methamphetamine and burglary. It was on my mother's birthday that had passed away too. I thought that was pretty weird. Man, maybe my mom's trying to wake me up. You know what I mean? Telling me from, hey, wow. But anyway, I still didn't think I needed help. But I'm facing two counts of manufacturing, 10 to 20 years. And I'm facing a burglary charge for another 10 years. And my sister, she, after I did about 3 months, she bonded me out. And just to show where my head was at, I got out of jail still getting high, still running the streets, not caring about her $20,000 in cash and house she put up, didn't care. And just kept living that life and not caring about others, and I sit back today and I'm like, my family, but I put them through all of that. And then I realized I loved getting high more than I loved my family. And it kind of hurt when I realized that, So I did go to a rehab. I went to a long-term rehab, and it was a 9-month program. It was a faith-based program. I knew there was a God. I heard of people talking about God, but I didn't have God in my life. And when I went into this place, these people that didn't know me are telling me that they love me, and they're buying things for me that I needed, like clothes and stuff like that. And I'm like, what are these people on? They just showing me love like that and don't even know me. I thought there was, what are they trying to get? What are they trying to get from me? And then just realizing there's nothing I have that they want. So it was really the true love of Christ. And I pretty much told myself, I said, after I got off of meth for about 30 days being in this place, I gave it a chance, even though it did take about 60 days to stop from being tired. Just to throw this in there, I got a sleep apnea machine, okay? And there's this card that goes in that sleep apnea machine, and it keeps track of how much sleep you get per night. Well, you got to turn that in to the people every month to see if you're qualifying for the insurance to pay for it. Well, 1 month I turned it in, and it said I slept 23 hours that month. You heard me. 23 hours for a month of sleep. Come on. That's crazy. And that's the truth, though. When I first got on meth, I lost 100 pounds in like 3 months. And I would go to the doctor every 3 months for checkups and stuff like that for my high blood pressure and all this and that. And I'm like, man, I can't go to the doctor this month. He's either going to say, boy, you're on dope or you got cancer. Because ain't nobody loses 100 pounds in 3 months. Well, I did. But anyway, I gave this place a try, this rehab. I was still facing those charges. And kept going to court and all this and that. Well, they gave me 10 years. And I had to go do some time. I went through Lifeline. I went through 2 phases of the program, which were each phase was 3 months. So I was there 6 months and had to go to jail. And I was so glad that I got God in my life at that point in time in my life before I went to jail. Just for the mere fact, they sent me to a like a workhouse in Louisville. And as a state inmate, and there was 3 floors, and I can remember my first day carrying my stuff up to these 3 floors, and there was these 2 other inmates arguing about, you just broke my needle. They're shooting up needle. I'm like, wow, what kind of place did they send me to? I've been clean for a little over 6 months, got God in my life, and you're going to throw all this in my face? Well, I stayed clean. Thank the Lord. Eventually going to, they'd let you go to, after a few months there, they'd let you go to work outside. All you made was stay pay. You know what I mean? And then you got to come back every day, and they drug tested you and all that and searched you and everything. But you got to have your own TV there. It was pretty cool, really. But I'm sitting back thinking, I'm 40-something years old at this time. This life is getting old. You know what I mean? In and out of jail. And I was working in the kitchen there, and they fed you like crap, for real. And I was working in the kitchen, and I ate 2 pieces of turkey while I was slicing it for lunch that day. Well, they pulled me out that kitchen and wrote me up for stealing and sent me behind the fence. I got kicked out of there, sent me behind the fence. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, wow. And the lieutenant's like, why did they send you here? I never had a write-up, no nothing. I just ate some turkey. I was hungry. And it was crazy. It was, I was locked up with murderers, rapists, everything like that. And I'm like, man, this sucks. And I'm fixing to go up for parole in a month. I'm not going to make parole. I just got kicked out of there for stealing and da-da-da-da-da. And I can remember sitting out there. I'm going up for parole, and I'm sitting in the waiting area, and you can hear the music playing. And I heard this song, "There's Power in the Name of Jesus," play. And this was right before I went in to see this parole board. And I'm telling myself, well, the best thing I can get is parole upon completion of SAP. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best you can get for getting kicked out. And people gave me parole. I've been locked up so many years in my life and never seen somebody get kicked out of SAP and make parole. It's never happened. The best you can get is parole upon completion of SAP. They'll send you back to SAP and then you get parole. But I made parole. And I just knew it was God. God had got me out of jail again. So a month later passes. I got my sister and my girlfriend at the time picked me up. I said, stop at Lifeline. That's the rehab I went to, that where I got God in my life. I said, I want to go back there and volunteer and tell these people what Lifeline and God has done for me, you know. And I go back there and I talk to the director, and he's like, yeah, we got you. You come on in here, we volunteer and da da da. Well, he gives me a call later that day and says, I talked to the board and they said you need to finish the program before you can come up here and volunteer. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, look, I'm not asking you for a job. I just want to volunteer and help these people out and let them know what God did for me. And he said, that's what the board said. So I ain't gonna lie, I was mad about it. And I went home and I talked to my sponsor and I talked to my wife and talked to my sister, who's number the three, you know, people in my life. Well, she wasn't my wife at the time. We'll get there. I just, you know, I got married. Okay. But anyway, I ended up getting back in Lifeline and finishing the program. And they started me back in second phase to where when I got kicked out to go to jail. So I go back in there. I finished second phase, which was 3 months. I finished third phase, which was another 3 months. And then I graduated. And then they offered me a job. I'm like, wow. And I worked at Lifeline for 8 years. 8 years. I love the job, helping people. Just telling them my story, where I was in the darkness that I was in, and where I'm at today. I mean, if you knew me back in the day and you see me today, it's amazing. It's only God that can do that. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. The biggest issue I had when I first started recovery, in the Bible, it says renewing of the mind. God will renew your mind. And I really struggled with that just for the mere fact is, how's he going to change the way I think? You know what I mean? But after so many years walking with the Lord and doing the right thing, I can see today I don't think like I used to think. But that was my biggest concern and issue, renewing of my mind. I couldn't, back in the day, I couldn't see how that was possible. I didn't know God was that powerful back then. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I worked at Lifeline for 8 years. My girlfriend ended up being my wife. We would go to Celebrate Recovery every week. My wife always told me, she says, when she wasn't my wife, she would say, when you propose to me, it better be good. And I'm like, dang, what do you mean it better be good? So what I did was this. We were at Celebrate Recovery, and my sister knew what was going on. And it was my night to do my testimony on stage in front of 200 people. It was a pretty big little crowd. And I went up there, I did my testimony, and then I had 2 flowers, 2 roses. And I wanted to give one to my sister and one to my girlfriend for sticking with me through all this mess I've been putting people through, you know? And like I said, my sister knew what I was doing. And my sister came up first. I gave her the rose. I thanked her, gave her a hug, and she left. Then I called my wife, girlfriend up there, and she come up there. Same thing, hug, kiss, all that. Well, she went to turn away, and I was like, hold up a minute. And I grabbed her by her hand. I got on one knee, and I proposed. Man, the crowd, I'm telling you, I've never heard that place roar like it did. And you had like I said, I was in Lifeline, the men's campus. Well, the women's campus would go also. Them women was like all in tears, screaming, ah! I was the man of the day right there. But I still got that on video too. But I proposed. It was great. We did a great job. And she accepted, right? And we were married for about a year. And then she's going to come at me with this idea about adopting a child. I said, you ain't never even told me you wanted no more kids. I've been with you a year. You should have told me this before we even got married. You know what I mean? That's something you need to tell somebody. I was like, no, I ain't adopting nothing. I was 49 years old. I so-called wanted to live my life, go on vacations and do all, wrong. She sent me a text one day. The text said, if we don't adopt this child, you're going to have an angry wife for the rest of your life. I said, man, I'm in trouble. So I screenshotted that and I sent it to the pastor that married us. He texted me right back. He said, look, I'll be at your house tonight. I said, okay, all right. Well, I'm thinking he's on my side and all this and that. No, he was on both of our side. He talked to us and he said, John, I want you to pray for 30 days for God to soften your heart on this situation. And I also added in that prayer, just put me and my wife on the same page, no matter what the outcome is, because I can't have an angry wife for the rest of my life. That ain't going to work. Well, as you heard in the introduction, we adopted that child. I love it. I love being a father. My wife always told me, you'll get a love that you've never felt before. I know that today. Our biggest problem today in my marriage is my daughter still sleeps in my bed. And that's my fault. I done told my wife she's not number one no more. Gabby is, my daughter. I know it's going to bite me in the butt when she gets older, but I spoil the heck out of this child. We went to Dollar Tree one time to go get some Halloween stuff. Who spent $65 at the Dollar Tree? I do, because Gabby kept throwing stuff in there. I get her whatever she wants. I know it's going to bite me in the butt, but my wife, she's the one that does all the discipline and stuff. My daughter would be like, Daddy, Mama said I can't have this. Well, I ain't going to lie. I give it to her. But I know I got to change that. Me and my wife got to be on the same page, raising this child. It's just hard. That's our biggest struggle today. And if that's all it is, I guess I'm doing all right, So we adopted this child, and like I said, it's awesome. It really is to be a father. You mind if I go back on something? No, you don't care.
No, come on back. Let's go back, because I have a question for you. Speaking of going back, I do have one question for you before I forget. Because when you mentioned the SAP program when you were in prison.
Yeah.
What is the SAP program for those who don't know what that is?
It's a Department of Correction. They call it a SAP program for substance abuse program. And yeah, and anybody that has a drug case has to complete a SAP program to be able to get out on parole. If you don't complete a SAP program, you're not getting out, period. You're going to do your time. So when I went to the SAP program, I got kicked out for stealing that turkey. And I've been in and out of prisons and jails my whole life, and I've never heard of anybody getting parole after getting kicked out of a SAP program. It's impossible. Nobody's ever heard nothing like that happen. The best you can get is parole upon completion. You go complete SAP, you can get parole, period. But the Lord said, let's let John out. So I just want to go back to the point when I was back in my addiction, and I first went to Lifeline. I failed to mention that my sister, she was in addiction as well. Her and I, we we got high together a lot. And her and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, they worked together. That's how we pretty much met, me and my girlfriend. Um, my girlfriend, she was a drinker. She would drink a little bit, but she never messed with drugs. She don't know nothing about that life. But me and my sister, I mean, we even got to the point, I don't want to say we hated each other in addiction, but we didn't get along. And the only reason why we messed around with each other is to help each other get high, period. She had dope. I'd help her. That way. And when I went to Lifeline I was there about 30 days, and I had to go to court. And this guy took us to court, and I said, "Man, can we stop at a restaurant after court and have lunch and meet my sister?" And like I said, she was back in the madness also. And she's seen where I was at after 30 days. She's seen the peace that I had. And she wanted the same thing. She really did. And she eventually went into the program. About, I'd say, a month after that, I seen her. And she went to Ladies Living Free, which is the woman's side of the men's at Lifeline. And she's sober to this day. I know you ain't supposed to have a sponsor of the opposite sex, so I don't call her my sponsor, but she's my accountability partner. My wife and my sister, I'll tell you right now, go ahead and think like you're going to do something wrong. I'll be walking around with a headache. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there because she's still sober to this day as well. And what's amazing is the domino effect of what happens when somebody gets sober. Because I got sober, she's seen where I was at, so she got sober. Then her husband, he went into the program and he got sober. And then eventually, like my sister's best friend at the time, she seen Lisa get sober and she got sober. And who knows how far that goes? That domino effect of just one person getting God in their life and getting sober, how many people it affects. It's just amazing. And I just love it. I love it. That's why I worked at Lifeline. I love the job, having people coming in broken and no hope. And because when I went in there, when I went into Lifeline, I didn't feel I needed help. You know what I mean? I went in there because I was fixing to get kicked out on the street because my girl was tired of the crap I put her through, and I'm fixing to go do 20 years in prison. What do I got to lose? So I went in there. I went in there for the wrong reasons, but, God had a different plan for me. And it was a very rewarding job to see people come in all broken and then end up doing great. Yeah, you got them here and here that relapse and stuff like that, but guess what? It's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get back up. And that was my best and favorite job I've ever had in my life. Where are we at now? Okay. So like I said, I worked at Lifeline for about 8 years, and then I didn't like where the place was going, period. When I went in there, it was about helping the clients out and God. I'm not going to sit here and talk bad about nobody, but they started taking Medicaid and it became a money issue. And I just didn't agree with some of the things. So I had left, and I went to another place, and started being a substance abuse counselor. Okay. I've been working my way to get there. Well, I did that for about 6 months at this new job, and I loved it. We teach. I worked with the IOP groups, 3.5 hours a group, 3 days a week. That's a beast. And then I would do individual.
Hey, John, tell people what IOP is for those who don't know if they're listening.
Okay, that's
We
intensive
in recovery,
outpatient.
we know what IOP is. There you go.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
It's intensive outpatient therapy. 3 days a week, 3.5 hours a day. You're in group. Of course, you get every hour you get a cigarette break. Back in there. And then I was doing individual sessions with clients. That was my favorite part, working on the one-on-one with the guys or girls too now, because co-ed. But it's hard to sit there for 3.5 hours and try to keep somebody's attention. You know what I mean? It's kind of impossible. I mean, after an hour, they're somewhere else. But that's why I think I like doing the individuals better. Well, come to find out, I don't know if the laws changed or what, but I needed a little bit more education to be doing what I was doing. So, because I was a CADC 1 and a CADC 2. That's like an associate type thing. And I had to be what do they call it? Supervised while I was a 1 and a 2 the whole time. And I wasn't being. And I guess because they changed the rules or the laws or something. So now I got to take this test, which I'm getting ready. Monday morning, I'm sending all my paperwork in to get a test date to take my CADC, which is a Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor. Then I won't have to be supervised. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing for me. It's taken like 2.5 years for me to get to where I am today. And it's like 300 hours of CEUs. That's like you watch a video, you take a test. I don't know if you know what that is. And then you got to be supervised for 300 hours. And then you got to have 1,000 hours of work experience, which I got all that with working at Lifeline. So I finally reached where I need to be able to take my test. So I'm sending that paperwork in Monday to take my test. And I'm also started back in college. I started that about a year ago to be licensed, a licensed therapist. I could be certified. I'm taking my test to be certified, but then once I get my college education and what I need done, I'll be licensed as. I can go. So once you're licensed, you can go on your own. You can own your own facility and run your own place once you're licensed. So since I'm going to be certified, that means I got to still work under somebody, but I don't have to be constantly supervised. So them are the things I'm working on now, and playing dad and playing husband. So I stay pretty busy, and I still got a full-time job. Right now, since I ain't got certified yet, they got me answering phones, and they just started a thing to where these people with IOP that don't have rides, they bought a van, and they're letting me pick these people up to get them to IOP. I'm really enjoying that because now I'm back with talking to these guys and sharing my story with them, and it's just awesome. I do want to say, you have your outpatient therapy people, and then you have your inpatient therapy people. And I've worked in both, and I enjoy working with the inpatient people more, just for the mere fact is you got a certain amount of guys that you get to work with for a certain period of time, and you really get to dedicate, helping these people and get to really spend some time with them. Working with these IOP guys and doing these individuals with them, it's almost like working with it's like cattle. I don't know if them are the right words, but they're coming in, they're going out, they're coming in, they're going out. And it's like you really can't spend no time with them. If I got an hour with this guy today, and I'm only getting an hour with this guy on individuals a month, I really can't really help that person. But while you're doing in treatment, you seen these guys every day for 30, 60, 90 days. And that's more where I'm at. That's more what I want to do. And like when I was at Lifeline, I worked there for, like I said, 8 years, and I've had almost every position there. Program coordinator. I was a director for about a year one time, and I did not like the director's job. Just for the mere fact is it pulled me away from working with the individual clients. I was sitting there going to these meetings with these higher ups, and they want me to be somebody who I'm not. I'm not the proper etiquette type guy. You know what I mean? I'm one of these people. You know what I mean? I just got some sobriety time in me. You know what I mean? I don't need to go talk to this millionaire and try to get donated money. That's just not me. So I ain't gonna lie. Put me down back to where I was at. That's just not where I want to be. I can't help nobody this way. And my biggest thing is, from where I was at to where I'm at today, I've even had people ask me, John, were you ever in addiction? Are you serious? Sit down. Let's talk about this. Yeah, I was the ugliest person. Man, if I dealt with you back in the day, the only reason why I was dealing with you is because I was trying to get something out of you. Money, dope, something. You know what I mean? And today, if I deal with you, it's all out of love from Jesus Christ, period. Did you say you had a question?
I always have questions, John.
Oh, okay. I
did have a comment because you mentioned IOP and it kind of how it can be. You don't get as much one-on-one time with people,
right.
And it's harder. But I wanted to mention this because I think it's important too, maybe for you and for anybody listening. My first introduction to recovery was through an IOP program.
Really?
And I will tell you, I didn't go in there for the right reasons. Well, I went in there for the reasons that I had, but the seed was planted.
Right.
I may not have gotten sober. I may not have recovered, but the seed was definitely planted. And it, I think about that looking and they say you have, you get a belly full of beer and a head full of recovery,
right.
You're in a world of hurt. That was the first experience I had with that, so I think that work's important. I know it may not be
right.
long-term where you want to end up, and I get that, but I just wanted you to know that what you're doing, John, is you are planting seeds, and even if probably the least likely people you think you're helping, you may be planting the seed that will save their life down the road. Right. And I think that's so important. And I think it's admirable that you are in that field. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's what I want to say.
All right. Yeah, I see that. But like I said, I worked at Lifeline for like 8 years, and the structure of the place was awesome, and 90% of the clients that we got for Lifeline was actually straight out of jail. I would throughout the week, I would go to the jails and interview some of these guys to come into the program, and when they're faced with, if you don't finish this program, you're going back to jail. When you got that over your head, you're really going to push a little bit harder to do right. You know what I'm saying? Than somebody out there on the street going to IOP. And it's just structured different, and it's just something I was used to. Down the road, when I do get certified and stuff, I probably would like to do it in treatment, working in treatment, because I think that's where my heart's at. But like you said, if I'm stuck with doing what I'm doing now, I guess that's probably what God wants me to do, and keep planting them seeds, for real. The in treatment program, it's just amazing. Like the mere fact is, when I said is, you see them coming in broken, and then when they're done, you can see the light of Christ in their eyes, and it's so rewarding. You can't buy that at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? It's just a beautiful thing. So that's where I'm at today,
Yeah. How has your view of addiction changed over the years, or has it?
Back in the day, my saying was, a sober day is a bad day. Today, it's just the opposite. And I am so thankful, seriously, for not being in addiction today, because I don't think I would be alive. The way that things are today with the fentanyl and everything like that, you don't know what you're buying. I mean, even if you go buy marijuana, you don't know what you're buying. And it's just so scary today that even just going to get a pain pill or whatever, something so small, you can end up dying. I mean, I'm just like I said, I'm just so thankful not being in addiction today, because it's so much more dangerous, for real. Like back in the day, I didn't think I had a problem. It's just amazing. I sit back and I look and I'm like, how did I think that way? I was so lost, it's just amazing how powerful addiction is. It controls everything. The way you think, the way you move, the way you do everything. And, like I ask guys, do you love your family? Who do you love most in your life? And they're all talking about, I love my daughter. I love my wife. And I'm like, let me share this with you. That's a lie. You love that addiction more. You love that drug more, because you're choosing that before them, And, when you tell it to somebody that way, you can see it like, man, he's right. You know what I mean? And you just got to look at it a different way, period.
Oh, hang on, John.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do now.
So what are some of your favorite tools that you use for your recovery, to get you through a difficult day?
My favorite tools, people.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I felt that if you asked for help, you were weak. And today, I see strength in asking others for help. Like I said, my sister and my wife, they're stronger than any sponsor can ever be in my life. You see what I'm saying? If I'm struggling, which I do, I struggle too. I need these people in my life to continue to keep walking the right path. If I isolate myself, and don't use people, I already know where I'm going to go. I'm going to go back down that road, So I just know the tools I got is the tools I need. That works for me, and that's what I'm doing, and that's why I got 10 plus years. Period. I'm not nothing. There's nothing special about me because I'm one bad decision from relapsing. That's all it is. I don't care if you got 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You're still one bad decision from getting back into that life. So I thought what works for me is my handful of people that I keep around me, and that's what helps. So that's my strongest tool. Yeah.
And what would you say to someone who might be listening right now who thinks that they're beyond hope?
What would I say to them? I would say I've been there, and all you have to do is trust the process and give it a chance. Because I'm going to tell you right now, give it a chance, and if you don't like it, you can go right back to what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? Just give it a chance and try. That's all you got to do. If you put 2% of effort into what you were putting in to get high, amazing things can happen. For real. And I tell a lot of people today that, I never knew what the good life was. You know what I mean? From growing up until I got sober, I lived a bad way. I lived a bad life. You know what I mean? I struggled for this. I struggled for that. Addiction was first in my life, and I never tried anything different. So I didn't know any different. But once I got sober and started getting these blessings in my life, shoot, I ain't never going back, Jack. For real. I love it. I love the blessings that I get today. I don't struggle today to my air conditioner goes out and I got to replace it. Do I got money to throw away? No. But today I got, you know what I mean? I don't have to ask mommy, daddy for help. You know, I'm a responsible adult today. And that's how I lived my whole life, something go out in the car or something that I had to go ask somebody for help. And today I'm more responsible and able. Today I can go get a loan. I got good credit today. Yeah, I'm in the 7 somethings. Yeah, I got the score of 7 something. I own a home today. I own a home. I'm paying. And what's amazing with that, my house payment's $530. Rent's higher than that. You know what I'm saying? For real. Yeah, I pay $530 a month for my house payment. It's only a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's all we need. But you ain't going to find a place to rent cheaper than that. Hello. Can't get that head shaking in there. Hello. That's the love of peace.
You can't see John at home. You can't see John if you're listening to the podcast, but John is shaking his head.
Yeah.
And he obviously has some skills. So
Right.
is there is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I think I covered everything in my testimony. I do have this one thing I had written I wanted to say at the end. To anyone listening and that's in addiction right now and feels hopeless, like you've made too many mistakes or that change is impossible, I am living proof that God can turn your life around. No matter how far you have fallen, there is always a way back. Your past does not define your future. God can restore what's broken, heal the pain, and give you a new purpose. Hold on, surrender to Him, and take the first step. Freedom, joy, and life, and full of hope, are waiting for you. that is just, I couldn't be where I'm at without God, and I know that. Um, and that's something that keeps me doing the right thing, having integrity today, um, getting the different jobs that I've had. It really, it kind of shocked me when they started giving me combinations to the safe. You know what I mean? And that just tells me I got integrity today. And I think that's really important, just doing the right thing even when nobody's looking, you know. Uh, Somebody can trust me today. You know, people that are in my circle, they can trust me today. They know if I say I'm going to do something, if I'm not doing it, something happened. You know what I'm saying? And that's really important with me today is the integrity, the reliability, and the honesty. Um, just keep doing the right thing. And speaking of integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, the way I look at it is God is always looking. So let's say I don't do the right thing when nobody's looking. He knows. You know what I'm saying? And he's my accountability partner. And these blessings that I keep getting in my life, I like them blessings. It might be a selfish reason for me to keep doing the right thing, but it's working. So if God's watching, which he is, I got to do the right thing to keep getting them blessings because I love them blessings.
Blessings are a good thing, and thank you for sharing your story, John. And I think you've got an amazing you're an amazing example of what God and recovery can do for someone. So thank you for sharing your story today. But I can't let you go without doing our rapid fire questions, John.
All right, Dan.
So no pressure.
All right. I feel a little pressure though.
Don't feel the pressure, John. Don't do it to yourself.
All right.
Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
What is your favorite recovery slogan?
I would say progress, not perfection.
What is your least? Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead, John. Nope, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just keep going forward. You know, I mentioned it earlier. It's not how many times you fall; it's how many times you get back up. Don't quit.
So, what is your least favorite recovery slogan?
Let's go with fake it till you make it. I really believe that having a good foundation is important to your future. And if you're faking it till you make it, and something happens and you get to struggling, you don't have that foundation to keep you up. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, fake it till you make it. That's my least favorite.
What do you think is your sobriety superpower?
My sobriety superpower. Well, after I got that COVID injection thing, I was able to start seeing at night. I had night vision. See, now you think I'm crazy. I figure I'd throw a little joke in there. No, I'd say my sobriety superpower was integrity, honesty, and reliability. Yeah, I'm a fool.
You got me, John.
You
got me, John. Yeah, you did get me. All right. If you could say one thing to your former self, what would it be?
You don't have to do it alone. Ask for help. That's one thing that I struggled with because I thought asking for help made you a weak person. And that's something I had to work through to change that way of thinking. So, you don't have to do it alone.
What song do you play to lift your spirits when you need a boost?
Uh, I wouldn't say a particular song, but I listen to a lot of K-Love. That's the modern Christian music out here, like Crowder and stuff. Um, I've seen him in concert personally, and it's probably the best one I've ever been to. Anything with Crowder.
If you could grant yourself one wish to help with your recovery, what would it be?
One wish to help with myself. I would say to tell myself to be patient with myself and understand that getting better takes time and just keep working it. Yeah.
What step do you love the most?
Number 12, helping others. I mean, I think that's what gets me. That's what helps me. And that's what keeps me driving forward. I love helping others, for real. Helping others that really want it. You know, when you go helping somebody that they tricked you, you know what I'm saying? That gets under me, my skin really bad, because I give my whole heart to helping somebody, and if you're just doing it just to get something, like whatever, oh yeah, that hurts my feelings. But yeah, just helping somebody, man, and watching them grow. Step 12, I love it.
What step do you love the least?
The step the one I could say that the least favorite is I struggled with the making amends. Just doing that step, it really brought up a lot of pain. I'm not saying it wasn't important, but I at least liked it because it got me in my feelings, you know. And getting in recovery, that's one of the things that you get back is your feelings, you know. And just bringing that up, I just want to say that's another thing I struggled with, you know. Somebody would say, what do you like to do for fun? You know, and I'm early in recovery. What do I like to do? I don't have a clue. You know, I've been getting high my whole life since I was in Pampers. I don't know what I like to do for fun. So I had to learn just like everything, you know, pretty much everything. I had to learn everything all over again as a sober person. I mean, I'm glad I knew how to walk. But yeah. Amen.
Yeah. What is one of your favorite movies?
One of my favorite movies, I Am Sam.
Nice.
You know it? Yeah. I don't know. And then
yep.
Like Forrest Gump, I don't know what it is about somebody with, life's hard enough as it is. And to get through life with any type of a disability and you keep moving forward, it's just so inspiring to me, I would say. So, yeah, like Forrest Gump, that was a good, that type of movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is tough. And then if you got a disability and you still tromping it, hey, my hat's off to you. For real.
Yeah. And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
What would I like God to say? Good job, my faithful servant. Welcome.
Well, John,
welcome to Fantasy Island.
John, thank you so much for taking the time today.
I don't know if you got
Oh
it or
yeah.
not. I use a lot of humor, even though it's not that funny. It's like, I don't know.
No,
It's one of my. I realize it's one of my coping mechanisms too. When I feel a little uneasy or nervous, I try to make something funny. It works.
You've got a great sense of humor, and I think it's important to know rule number 62 for those who don't know. That is the don't take ourselves too seriously, which is really important.
Amen. I agree.
Thank you, John, for taking the time today and for sharing your story and sharing about your passion for drug addiction and counseling. I think it's such an important role, and thank you for doing it, and thank you for being here, sir.
You're welcome.
And for those of you listening at home, please subscribe to our friends at thedailyponderables.com, your recovery source for inspiration and encouragement every day. A new episode of The Cup of Joe Show is released every Thursday at noon. Visit thecupofjoeshow.net, or you can listen to the show on your favorite podcast apps, Podbean, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and others. Just search for The Cup of Joe Show. Don't forget the. Like, follow, subscribe, and share, because somebody out there needs to hear this today. Have a good
Baby.
We hope you enjoyed today's Experience, Strength, and Hope. We are so grateful you decided to join us. Please share this episode with someone who might need it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, no matter where you are in your recovery journey, you are not alone. Reach up and reach out to someone. Please do not suffer in silence. Until next time, let's take it 1 minute, 1 hour, and 1 day at a time. Thanks for listening to The Cup of Joe Show.